let's move on into not the tabletop talk segment. We're going
No.
to get into the ITC recap because that informs tonight's tabletop talk segment. Blech. We got to name a better segment than that, man. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
You can name whatever you wanted.
Before we get too deep into the ITC rankings, there's been questions sent in to us.
Yeah.
There are still issues with both the 40K and the AOS hobby track. Those issues are not, from my understanding, on the FLG side. Those are on the BCP side.
Yeah.
We have no control over BCP. They're an independent company. They're doing their own thing. They are aware of the issues and they are working on them, but they're only going to work as fast as they can and as they're going to prioritize. And that's up to them how they do that. So I understand hobby track folks. You're a little upset that we've got some scores that still aren't correct from all the way back in June. Just hold tight. They're aware of it. Kicker has let them know they are working on it. But we do have competitive track scores to go through. So
Nice.
Hopping into the 40K competitive track, our number one this week, still reigning champ for this week, is Vic VJ. Our number two is Manny Chima. Number three, David Gaylord. And then we've got a new number four, the lovely Jack Harpster, who I got to see this weekend. This weekend I got to watch Jack consume an amount of meat that was unhealthy at a barbecue joint. You've met Jack and you've met Mark Perry before, right?
Yes.
Right, Dickie?
Yeah.
We ordered so much food at this barbecue joint that Mark Perry started giving food away.
Wow.
That's a rarity, folks.
That's a lot of food.
It's a lot of food.
That's a lot of
we
food.
had a good time. And not to forget our number five, Thomas Ogden, holding up strong for the Americans. Him and Jack are pushing in there. Moving on down to the AOS competitive track, number one is Anthony Trentinelli. Number two, Gavin Greigar. Number three, Thomas Guan. Number four, Jeremy Vassir. And number five, Matt Beasley. All right. So I put that segment first because the tabletop talk tonight, we are officially halfway through the ITC season.
Wow.
August is the halfway mark. So we've started to see people solidify. They've gotten their 6 scores. We've seen some of the names float to the top that we typically expect to float to the top. So I kind of wanted to see where we're sitting this season and what things are looking different. So I've looked back through the last few years. We don't have the full data from 2020 and 2021 because there were some BCP issues with that data set. I had to go back through some old notes and find what I could out of those, but we do have the full rankings for 2018 and 2019.
Yes.
So repeat top performers based off the information I can find. Manny Chima, he's always been in the top 10 last few years. Brad Chester, the last 2 years, Anthony Vanella has been performing well, and Jack Harpster. So we're seeing those guys come back up into the top 10, which isn't necessarily that surprising. We tend to see a lot of the players perform well year after year, those top level players. But Tech Priest or World Eater or whatever you want to be,
whatever
tonight,
the hell
Dickie,
I am today, yeah.
There are some significant names missing from our top 10 or even our top 20. Malik Rubio previously finished 5th in 2021. He's way down there. He's only got 3 events for the 2022 season. So he's only halfway into scoring for the season. So I don't think we could count a guy like that out. But I mean, he's over in the UK. There's been a lot of events in the UK, and he hasn't gone to many of them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's so many things. There's so many things that happen. You get married, you have a kid. I know Brandon Grant was in that scenario, right? For a couple years. So
in fact,
I think
this year I can pull that real quick. How many events Brandon's been to this year?
Well, I'm assuming he's at WTC right now. So
he is. He is at WTC right now,
but yeah, stuff comes up, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, how many events? Like, do you have the numbers on European events versus North American events?
I don't have that breakdown, but I have breakdown of remaining super majors and majors.
Okay, all right.
But give me a minute. Let me, now that you've asked the question, now I want to know where Brandon Grant's ranked.
I imagine he's done a few events, but I don't know. I don't know what.
You may be surprised, my friend.
I had a
I'm scrolling real deep into this list of
yeah,
grants.
I had a wonderful experience. I don't know if anyone remembers the LVO video that we kind of played during the breaks on the stream.
Yeah.
I had a huge opportunity to interview every ITC winner since the beginning of time. So,
Beginning of
um,
time.
yeah, it was really cool to just chat with them and ask them like what their best experiences were. And yeah, no, Brandon Grant was really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, Siegler, yeah, Matt Root.
Yeah, I can't find any scores for Brandon Grant this year, so
Mm,
he's he's not been super involved, and people take time off. People also can backload their season.
mm,
Matt Laura's in chat. He said he finished 32nd last year. Matt has only got 3 scores this year.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure Matt, you have plans to go to 3 more events this year, so
Yeah,
there is that. I mean, there is a because there are so many big events coming. You can still have basically taken the front half of the year off to take it easy, which I know a lot of guys have, particularly guys that play on these big WTC teams.
yep.
They might be focused more on team play than in singles play, but there's still plenty of season left for these guys. Speaking of teams, though,
Mm,
Sean Naden, the captain of Team America, came in fifth in 2021, 11th in 2020, 2019, fifth in 2018,
mm.
has no scores for this ITC season.
New baby, bro.
Yep,
New
he's
baby.
got
Be
a
hard.
second kid.
Yeah,
He's still painting. He was at Charity Hammer this year.
nice.
So he's still involved in the community. He was at Joel Hammer, another charity event. So he's still out there. Obviously, he's working with Team America. He's their captain. So that's been a big thing on his plate. So,
Yeah,
I got to imagine to some extent, guys like that have to prioritize. Um, does that mean that maybe we'll see Sean pop up at a few majors later in the year? Sure.
yeah, maybe.
Um, but you also got to wonder, is Sean going to be able to pop into 6 majors and perform at a top level to compete? So I maybe this is a year that we see Sean taking a step back from the competitive game.
It's possibly after WTC, he may
Yeah.
kind of take a step back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Another top finisher that we're not seeing up at the top yet, John Lennon.
Hmm. And
But
he's
that
oh, go
he's
ahead.
only down in 57th place, but
Okay.
he's only at 5 of 6 scores. Which so like top scores right now, I can go look. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Math. Top scores are like mid 1300s.
Yeah.
Mr. Lennon, the boy king himself, at 5 scores is at 1100. Now, a really good event will net you a little over 200 points. 200 to 230, 240, depending on the size. So it is certainly possible for John to hop up into that conversation with a solid win at a super major. But so don't obviously count that guy out. He's one shot away from being in that top 10, top 5 conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's hard.
speaking,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say it's hard. It's hard to say that they've been prepping for WTC because if you look across the pond, you see Manny Chiema. He's on Team England. I believe Vic
Mhm.
Vijay is on Team England as well.
Yeah.
So, like, what have these guys been prepping for WTC?
And
Obviously,
I don't
too.
know, is David Gaylord on a WTC team this year?
I don't know. I don't know,
Hmm.
but again, he's a I hear his name all the time. So,
Yep.
um, they've been prepping for WTC. So what's going on here? What's the difference?
I think part of it is access to events. Um, Looking through the number of super majors, and we'll get to that in a second. Space wise, obviously the UK is a much smaller geographic area than the US.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we have the same amount of super majors between the US and the UK, travel wise, there is a significant difference in cost of traveling to all those events in the US versus the UK. A lot of the UK events are drivable. There's a lot of good public transportation options. I've talked to folks over there to get around with trains and buses, obviously. Here in the US, if and you're up in Canada, Tech
Mm.
Priest, if we want to go from ACO to the SoCal Open, you're talking over $1,000 in airfare
Yeah,
to get from one end of the country to the other. So there are some cost
the
considerations there too.
cost is a factor for sure.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Yeah, it's really
So
interesting.
yeah. keep that in mind. The other big name, the one that I can't go any further without talking about,
Mm-hmm.
is the two-time champion,
The two-time.
Richard Siegler,
Yeah.
and he has only got one event on 2022 scores, and that's ATC. Um,
Hmm.
he's played in no singles events. Um, Part of me wonders if, like Genghis Khan
Huh.
or Alexander the Great, he has conquered all that is before him, and all he could do was weep, for there are no more ITCs for the Siegler to conquer.
Yeah, so last year he specifically played in the GW events as well as LVO, of course, which he
Yeah,
won, which got him his second win. So, is he only wanting to play in the large, like super majors? I noticed that he didn't play in the WTC Singles Championship. I know Team America generally doesn't, but
yeah. I
um,
hear rumors that a certain Brad Chester will materialize in your room and prevent you from attending singles
and break
at
your kneecaps,
WTC,
yeah,
something like that.
something like that. Whatever.
Yeah,
Um, I think it'd be good to get your like dust the cobwebs off when you're there, right? Like I saw two Team Canada, Sam and
yeah,
Devin Swan. Like they did really well. Like
yeah. Sam came in sixth with his Blood
yeah,
Angels.
they're killing it. I'm so proud of those guys. And yeah, man, like I think you'd want to get like stretch your legs, like see how the European style is before the big event. So yeah, I know Team Canada generally does, but I know Team America has a big no-no attached to
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
Well,
interesting.
one of my friends in chat here, Hunter Nichols, points out Hunter's down in I believe in Mississippi. It's about as much for him to fly to the London Open as it is for him to fly to a West Coast GW event.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Um,
Yeah,
so
flights are
that, keep
crazy.
that in mind. I think that's definitely been an effect on the US player base. Having, we have a large number of large events, but they're so spread out.
Yeah,
It's really costly to travel to a lot of these things. So not saying that's why the UK is winning, but just keep that in mind that there's other things to consider, not just X number of big events. It's, can you make it to all those big events? Speaking of events, I went through everything that is published on BCP and the Frontline Gaming website right now about 150 plus player events between now and the end of the year. Now, I may miss some events here that might not have been published yet. There are some that I was looking for,
yep.
like the Show Me Showdown, that wasn't on there. But here's an interesting little breakdown. Kind of in chronological order, we have Warzone Houston, which is in Texas, Crucible, which is in Florida, Michigan GT, which is obviously in Michigan, SoCal, which is in California, Las Vegas Teams, which is in Las Vegas, Nova, which is in essentially Washington, D.C. or Maryland, and then LVO, which is in Las Vegas. And that is all the US based 150 plus person event.
Okay.
So
Huh.
we had 6 there, or 7.
It's not a lot.
Then you hop over to the UK. They have the Goonhammer Open, the
Yeah.
Leeds GT, the London GT, which is the second largest singles event in the world to the LVO, the Coventry GT, the Leicester GT,
Yep.
and the Baltic and the Nottingham GT. That is 6 events,
Okay.
all much closer in travel. So a UK
Um,
player right now that's maybe got one or two big scores has a lot of other opportunities to jump in and fill those scores out. Um, Not to be outdone, we still have the Baltic Cup in the Netherlands and the Adelaide Uprising in Australia. So there are some other big events going on internationally.
yep.
There are the GW events. Those are larger events, but sometimes they don't hit that player mark. So that's kind of why I didn't include them. Someone in chat, again, Hunter mentioned Warzone Atlanta. I think Warzone is capped at like 96 players this year, I heard. So I'm going to be a little bit smaller. And as it's important to remember that player numbers are a huge component to our ITC scores now, because it's players numbers and number of rounds are your multipliers. So these multi-day events with a large number of players really help boost those ITC scores. So just keep that in mind. But there's plenty of opportunity out there for someone to score big. But just looking on a map, you're talking you've got 1, 2, 3 on the West Coast if you're counting Vegas as the West Coast, even though it's still a good 5-6 hour drive from the actual coast.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Nova, which is in the opposite end on the East Coast. You have Crucible, which is in Florida, Orlando, Florida, kind of middle of the state. Again, about as far, almost as far away as if you can get from where Nova was. You've got Michigan, which is again kind of another opposite end of the country, and then Warzone Houston in like the last area of the country. So the large events in the US seem to be really spread out. So it's going to take a really dedicated player to catch up. Someone, I'm not trying to say you can't, Matt, but someone like Matt, that's a lot of traveling for Matt to do to get 3 scores versus someone like John Lennon, who's only got 1 score left. That's pretty easy. Maybe he hops down to Crucible or he just saves it up for the LVO, because a lot of folks are going to be going to LVO, both US and European players. So keep that in mind. That's still the big daddy of Maul.
Yeah.
That definitely can shake up some scores. Maybe we should count that as an international event.
Well, generally, yeah, you're right. There is a lot of international people will come because it is so huge that
Yeah.
they'll come to that event for sure.
You don't ever get to see it, though.
I'm behind a black curtain the whole time. Yeah,
That's true.
it's pretty lame, but it is what
Yeah,
it is.
I said this year that we're going to make him produce the event from front of stage. Like, you guys are going to have to look at the
Ah,
back of
Jesus.
Tech Priest's head while he's working and
No,
sweating,
I would
and then
rather.
past him will be the game on the
I
stage.
would rather not. No, let's not do that. Let's just leave
Oh,
me
okay.
behind the black curtain. No one needs to see it. That's
All
fine.
right, all right. Well, I did ask ahead of time for a few listener questions,
Yep.
but chat, if you've got any live questions, get them in.
In the meantime,
In the meantime.
I wanted to bring
Oh
something up.
yeah, wait, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
go
forgot?
ahead.
I didn't even tell you about it. What do you mean you forgot?
I forgot that you said you were going to derail me.
Okay, guys. I wanted to bring this up because it's a big worry to me, and it should be a worry to all of you. And Seth,
Is
it
this
should
a
be.
safety hazard at WTC? I see.
Yeah. So let's just look. You'll notice that lovely Val took these wonderful screenshots and zoomed them in for us.
He shot
Um,
enhanced while doing
it's
it.
just enhanced. Yeah, he enhanced it all. These are just white lawn chairs at these tables. White lawn chairs, Seth.
Maybe the fitness of the average European player is different than the average physique of the US
No,
player.
Seth, no. No. We're all built the same, friend, all right? It's like so all I'm saying,
All right.
and in fact here, I'm going to bring this up just so we can just can we just for a minute just maybe have a moment of silence for this young man, this chair in his prime of his life.
It's
That's a
gonna get
He's
squashed.
gonna get squashed. It's gonna be
With
bad.
even if you took a standard physique person and got them maybe a little drunk
Yeah,
and then threw them at one of those chairs, I don't think that chair is gonna fare very well.
yeah. So
On
I
and on concrete floors. Man,
oh,
that's gotta be kill because you're gonna want to get off your feet because you're on the concrete all day.
but you're not gonna want to sit on that. Yeah,
Man, talk about
I
living
wouldn't
on
even
the
put my
edge.
army on that. So I don't know, guys. I think everyone should pour one out. Uh, like make a prayer because you know what, this guy's going down. I will tell
Now,
you. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe earlier our lovely overlord Val
Yeah,
has requested a live count of
that's right.
dead chairs.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a
Do we
live
have?
count.
Yeah.
Currently, as of 4 hours ago, 0 chairs have been injured. I did, however, see a French player on the ground and the chair underneath him. So I'm pretty sure that chair went down. So I want to get confirmation
All right. We're
tomorrow.
gonna need a
Yep,
reporter, a
yep.
trusted source,
Adam
to
Camilleri is
confirm.
our only trusted source at the venue.
Adam, we're gonna need you to do
Yep,
this for us, buddy.
yep.
Now, if someone was interested in watching WTC to maybe keep track of the chair count, where could they do that, Tech Priest?
Oh God, you got me. Give me 1 second. I'll
I
find it.
teed you up for
I
this. You
know.
told me we were going to talk about
I
it.
know, but I did the first one first. Okay, 1 sec. Give me a second here. Give me a second. I was watching them today. was watching them. It's the French. There's a French team. They're on site and they're actually doing great stuff. I enjoyed the stream. They yes, for English speakers, they do speak French, but the players have to speak English at the table for WTC, and the player mics are live. So
Awesome.
yeah, so you can. I'm sorry, Mark. Jeez, you're beating me up. Everyone's beating me up today. Show more. Okay, here it is. Here it is. It's called French War Game. It's their streaming channel, French War
Is it
Game.
a Twitch or a YouTube?
It is on Twitch, but they also have a YouTube link as well.
All right.
So
So
and they're
French.
also yeah. So they were playing like today. Matt Morsoli was playing. It was great. It was wonderful. Here I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up
French
for
War
you.
Game or French War Game
I'm bringing
Studio?
up. I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up. I don't.
I think it's French War Game Studio.
Give me a sec. Here we go. Watch. Oh no, the chair's in the way.
The chair's in the way.
French War Game. It's right there with the purple. That's where they are. Subscribe to
right.
them. Subscribe. They're the only ones on site. We need we need to support them so they can keep going.
All right. Well, I'll be doing my subscribing to them
Yeah.
shortly.
Also, I wanted to say this is a bit early, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'll be at an event streaming with the T Sports Network as the camera
Ooh.
moves in. I'll be streaming with the Overlord Val, and we're going to be having a great time. I'm going to type that in. T Sports Network, it's at the Capital City Bloodbath. Going to be super awesome. We're going to be there. Rob from Honest Wargamer is going to be there. Come join us. It's going to be a party. Yeah, and I believe
Yeah.
actually Joe, Wargames Live Joe, is not doing anything that weekend. So what a great opening for you guys to watch a stream. So
All right. Well, we thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Segments from the Frontline. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.